Good morning. We have something a little different today. Yes, we have you guys there hanging out and getting that view. And then we have another view where you guys get to see up closer a little bit more about what's going on. Get to see, well, honestly, if you this is what you want to look at, then that's what you get to see. And if you prefer the other view, you can check that out too. So hey, thank you guys for joining today. I may move some stuff around. I'm kind of getting used to some of this stuff, and it's really exciting what uh, is happening today in our personal lives and in the lives of people that are around us and with us. Um, it's super exciting to see what the Lord is doing today, like what's happening in different friends' lives, and uh, during this time of which may be coming to an end, right? But during this time where we have been quarantined and set in the house, um, I'd be interested to discuss with some other friends about how that's impacted the intimacy of your engagement with friends. You know, has it caused you to sincerely um, push into prayer with people, um, or just even concern about them? Have you listened a little closer to what may be the desires of their heart that they have seen arise, or they have kind of come into in this time of quiet? I think I'm excited to see um, how the level of care and how maybe intimacy is redefined as a result of this time that we've had. Today we are, this is Norway, Norway's scroll that we're painting on today. And always, man, like what is going on with Tuesdays, huh? Is today another Tuesday? It is another Tuesday, man. Tuesdays lately have just been, the last 3 or 4, seem to have been crazy. And the idea that I could even say I can remember 3 or 4 is crazy. You know, I mean, normally I'm lucky for a couple of days, right? But man, I definitely have noticed, and today too, I woke up with a beautiful dream and got to think about that, and spend some time this morning just kind of talking with God about that. What does that look like for you to talk to God about your dreams? Well, it's definitely changed in time. At one point, it was very calculated and specific, without much variance. I just wanted to be consistent, and I had this idea in my heart of what success looked like. God, even what success looked like for me to be with and and uh, to pray with God. I had this idea, right? Because I had asked somebody what it looked like for them, and I had sought someone's advice on how to do it. What does it look like to spend time alone with God? Anyway, so for a while it was somewhat rigid and calculated. Uh, yeah, but like this morning, it's a lot less now. In that I I allow myself the freedom to have thoughts, to free flow in thought and in discussion. And before I was always waiting for God to show up. I was like sitting there and waiting, which is super sweet, man. That's a really precious, uh, meaningful, wonderful heart posture to have. And I still have that, but I also allow myself space to discuss and to brainstorm, quote unquote, to flow, as they say. What does that mean? Well, it means just to be like a kite, right? I don't know. Be like a seashell. Norway. What are we doing in Norway today? What's there to... Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's shift it a little bit over. Why not, right? You can do that. Yeah, we can. Thank you, Lord. Yeah. I feel grateful for the Lord right now. I'm just grateful in my life. One thing that just keeps echoing in my life, but in truth, is just this desire to want to be with us all the time, to be acknowledged by us all the time. Recently, I watched a blessing come our way that was a desire of my wife's and mine, but she had really always desired something, and we saw it happen. And when we saw it happen, it was a gift of something to us, and then I started going through the process to acquire it, and man, I just came into a lot of, it just wasn't pleasant, It's just kind of like, oh crap, I got to deal with all this garbage. Sure is, I guess I, just need to do that. Sometimes we do have to deal with opposition or, whatever you want to call it, but just challenges in pushing through some things. And other times, it's not really about the opposition. That's not my point. My point is, there was opposition in me, in my plans, in me thinking I was following and doing. It's like somebody gives you something and you got to go get it, right? Well, part of the going getting it is and has become a great challenge, and it's like that was only part of it. But when I began to just chill and not fuss so much about the struggle, I was like, well, where are you in this, Lord? Like, what am I? And I started to sense and feel a direction in a different way. And I was like, well, what's that? Another solution that I really wasn't in my plan. And it would be like, I don't know, you getting something and as a gift, and it's going to go bad in a period of time, and you need to use it and get it and make the most of it. Or you you want something in your life, like some resources for something, and you get those resources, and then you hear a redirection of how to use those resources, and it's not really part of your plan. And oftentimes I get gifts from God, or we get answers to prayer from Him, and then we take off, and meaning take off with our own plans. And it's like, well, where are you going? I hear, it's like, well, the reason I do that is because oftentimes my prayers have plans in them. My prayers have agendas in them, and that's cool. But at times it can be quite restrictive, and it can actually prevent me from seeing what He wants to do or what He's trying to show me, because I have my mind locked into things being a certain way. So that's kind of the message, is that, like, how do we find a balance, or not a balance, or whatever? How do we move in that, in wisdom, in obedience, in union with Him, and how do we do that? And it's just to know His promises, but his promises are not one-sided, while at times they are meant to invite us into a relationship with Him. He will be with us always, is not just so that we know He's with us when we find struggle. It's to know that He's with us and at all times, and that means it's ongoing and it never ends, and we get to bathe in Him, and that means, like, to be lavished in Him. That means to be covered, like it's raining outside and you are completely wet with Him and wet with His presence. This is a part of His promise and His blessing. And so for us to leave, I think we often leave stuff on the table. I mean, I went and acquired something for my wife, and it was a huge blessing. And then I went to go get that thing, and I was making plans to have this gift transported and moved across the country, and I was coming into a lot of opposition about it, and I didn't know what to do. It was really just, man, it just sucked talking to these people, and I was getting mad and all kinds of stuff, and I was like, what is all that? And then I started to see something else arise, and when I surrendered to that, or I actually said, okay, that just doesn't feel, that I just don't agree in my heart that this process should suck, pretty much is what I was saying, and it does. And so I just don't like it, and so I'm going to slow down. And when I did, then I started to see actually a whole nother plan come. And when I said okay to that plan, that is when some really cool things started to happen, because then I started to actually see a bigger picture, and I started to actually see, oh wow, the method, or the way in which I'm being led to do it now, is a funny quote unquote coincidence, which it's not, to other words or other direction I had gotten at a different time. Meaning that all these things started coming together that were connected, and if I would not have, like, chilled and, like, said, okay, maybe my plan is not exactly the plan, when I, like, postured my heart, when I put my heart, I think my thing just stopped. But that's okay. We can still keep going. I don't know why I did that. But once I postured my heart in such a way that I could hear, then I began to see the big picture and really what was more of victory than what I had in my simple mind limited and defined victory to be. You see, there's promise within the promise. There's a sweetness that is never ending and that may not be related to feelings or circumstance or anything. But the Lord may use circumstance and feelings and other things to get our attention. Because He loves us, you know? You say, what do you mean? I mean, like, well, if you're starving on the side of the road, for me to come and try to tell you about all the great promises of God, that He's got all these things He's going to do for you without giving you any food, that's foolish. So I need to meet you where you are. Well, the Lord knows us in the same way. And sometimes we get to see fulfillment of a request that we've made that may have really nothing to do with what He wants or wants to show us, but that by grace and mercy we see those things come around, and then in the middle of all that He invites us into a discussion, into knowing Him more. And if we're so wrapped up in our plan and executing it and fighting everybody along the way, or just we have this massive agenda, and we miss it. I feel the same way when I paint sometimes, you know? It's like, hey, you know? Yeah, I'm learning on this technology stuff. I don't know what we're doing here. I think my camera died, but it's okay. Yeah. Okay. That's part of like the way I paint too, you know? Like, I didn't want to start and paint where I was painting today. And I wanted to start somewhere else. And I could do that. But then I just really felt like an invitation to start at a different place. And you may be saying, well, does it really matter what you're talking about? Maybe we're not talking about painting, you know? How about that? Maybe we're not talking about where you start at all. We're talking about being trusted in a relationship. Talking about building trust with your own self and in your mind, Building trust with your mind. Yeah, I said that. Building trust with your mind. Your spirit builds trust with your mind. That your mind does something totally against what it knows. And it does that because it trusts. There is that that's going on, you know. And as one with Him in our spirit, something we need to learn to do, you know, is to not force through religion and law, but to invite and to love. The way He did us, and the way He meets us in our place. I love that, don't you? He met me and helping me acquire that gift from my wife, and then He began to draw me out. He began to draw me out. What does that mean? Draw you out of where? Well, to draw me out of myself, to draw me out of my self-interest, to draw me out of my agenda, and to draw me into what He wants to say, and what He is, the tone and the creative vibration that God is releasing. Like, that's what He does, right? When He speaks, things get created, and He wants to invite us into that space. And well, some things that are created from a place that is completely abstract and never even heard of before, like the unseen realm. Like it says that He creates all things out, and at times creates things from things that never even existed. So that's probably a pretty good environment for trust if we're going to co-create with Him, and He's going to lead us into this beautiful time of life where we get to create and see and love and redefine things and move in an abstract manner to all that man knows, because it's coming, it's here, it's upon us right now, and man is ready for it. And we love the young generation right now seeks that, you know, and it's beautiful. And they're actually fueling. They are the fuel behind this new discovery, these new things, this new way of God that is not religious or bound by buildings or pulpits or other things. You know, actually, it's pushed and fueled in abstract love of the Lord, you know, and honor of individuality, but yet trust and transparency for community. It's there, you know, it's there, and he has not, God has not set this thing up for Him to do it all by Himself. He's actually seated people. He's actually given people anointing, which means He's given people power and authority to be leaders in this revolution, in this reformation, in this change, in an expectation that is available for men right now. Changing expectation. To change expectation is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like to change expectation, you have to be available for that. If you are bound in agenda, then you're bound in your prayer, and you're bound in your performance, and you're bound in your plans, and you ask God to do all these things exactly the way you want them done, and then you're not available for the new thing. Your heart is on lockdown with what He really wants to show you. Not me, man. No way. Lord, I want my heart to be open to you. I want to see what you see. I want to love the way you love, Lord. I'm ready to be obedient to you in the way you move in my heart, and to love other people in that same way and encourage them so that they can in in turn do the same, which means to love other people and encourage people in their individuality, and but yet share truth and be transparent and live in community, redefine things. It's just super exciting. I mean, isn't that exciting to you? Wow. It's like, wow, we're a part of that. I don't even know what you call that. I'm sure somebody does. Some fancy word for it. I don't think it's a move of God. I think it's a move of love. I think it's like a dream, like a lover's dream is what's happening right now in the earth. Yeah. Yeah. I see it. I see it. And it's not about destruction and sickness and disease and all the freaking garbage that's being spoken around about, you know, this being torn down and that being beat up and this being, no. There definitely will be dismantlings of false authority, no doubt. But you know what? If you're not in the middle of that and called to that, they probably don't need a cheerleader. Yeah, the people that are called to walk that out probably don't need any more sideline observers making comments and carrying on about all the things that are being dismantled and destroyed and redone, and people using that information and that insight that's available to promote themselves and promote what they're doing. Yeah, like what if we actually went to the other side and we're like, yeah, things are being rewritten and there are some radical changes that are happening in the earth. And so, Lord, what does that mean? And what am I doing today with you to invite people into the new thing that you're doing? Because you have a role, you know? Because you have a promise. And he's given you a plan that you can understand right now in your heart, and don't make little of it. Like it's the plan that you have in your heart is the one that he's put there to woo you. Just leave your heart open as you explore it. You know what I mean? Like make yourself available for his influence, his continued influence, not his momentary influence. But say I'm available for you, and know that he's much bigger than any plan he's put in your heart, and he's much bigger than you executing it. He's all about being with you as you explore it. Trust. Yeah. Sorry, my camera went down. Wow, Norway. It's been good hanging out with you guys. I think we've exceeded our time, and yeah, some cool colors today. I think I like it. I like those colors. Yeah. I'm gonna keep painting for a while. But I'm gonna, yeah. Would it be cool if I could like give you guys an option of like hanging out or not? You know, like maybe I just do that. Maybe I set something up like a community room where we can hang out, where I can try to get better at making this more interactive with you, you know? Move past my plan, right? But be responsive to that pulling in my heart of community with people online. Yeah. Hey, bless you. Love you. And hey, love your moms. It's okay. You can take the whole week or the whole month. Um, even your neighbor, even your friend's mom. Just call them up and tell them how much you love them and you appreciate them. Even after the big day is really powerful. Something's being birthed in the season that we're in, and we need mothers and their wisdom and their insight to guide us in this time, because that's what they do. That's who they are. Bless you. Love you.